Hello everyone, it's your boy the Fantasy Football Almanac here, back at it with another best ball draft video. Today we're launching in to Best Ball Mania 3 Best Ball Draft with pick 5 right here. Hoping for one of the 3 top wide receivers. We're guaranteed at least one. And we may even get Cooper Kupp here. Probably going Justin Jefferson. If not, Austin Eckler coming off the board at 3, which is a little peculiar. Usually going off the board around pick 6. But here there is a really good chance we get Cooper Kupp. I'd be fine with Justin Jefferson. I'd be fine with Jamar Chase. But if we're getting our choice, I think we gotta go Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp having the most fantastic wide receiver season perhaps ever. Can't really go wrong with that. 191 targets, 145 receptions, and almost 2,000 yards. Cooper Kupp is off the board. We will take Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, perhaps, not perhaps, honestly, without a doubt, the best two first seasons in NFL history for a wide receiver. No doubt about it. Jamar Chase may one up him here next year for that accolade, but Justin Jefferson stepping into year 3 should be absolutely one of the best wide receivers. Jamar Chase probably has more boom bust potential in terms of putting up these 200-yard games, 300-yard games. Justin Jefferson might not have that ceiling, but every single week, Justin Jefferson is going to be getting you like 20 fantasy points, which is just crazy. Love Justin Jefferson so much. I do love both of them. I mean, both of them are absolute studs coming out of LSU. With Joe Burrow, it's actually crazy. I mean, that LSU team is just fucking ridiculous. But either way, just before we really get into this draft, if you guys could go down, leave a like on this video, leave a comment. Let me know how you think I did. Let me know if you have any fantasy questions, or if you want to see me work on any types of videos. That would be awesome. And please, if you really do enjoy, I would love a subscription. I mean, that would just honestly mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much. Anyways, back into the video. We got a little bit. We got a 3 running back run coming off the board from Derrick Henry to Najee. We got Joe Mixon and Aaron Jones coming off the board at 13. Aaron Jones at 13. Aaron Jones is a guy who I think is a little bit more valuable in best ball drafts because he does have those 40-point weeks. I mean, those 40-point weeks, they could individually win you weeks. And if he does that in week 17, which is the last week of Best Ball Mania 3, you could easily win $2 million because of that. But at the same time, Aaron Jones either has 40 or 12. I mean, he really has no in between. And also, A.J. Dillon outproduced him on a per-touch basis. Weeks 11 on the last season. I mean, do we really think? Oh, wow, okay. I'll go on that tangent in a second. But here we're either going to take Deebo Samuel or Mark Andrews. Can't be mad with either one. I think pairing up Justin Jefferson with either of these guys is absolutely insane. Here, I probably will go Deebo here. Even though I do probably like going Mark Andrews a little more, I actually think there's very small, faint possibility that Mark Andrews can make it back to us. Mark Andrews has been absolutely falling down these draft boards. And if I could get him at pick 29, which is very unlikely, I mean, the odds that he falls are like 1 in 200. Yeah, he goes at pick 23. But I've seen him fall all the way to pick 25, 26. So I figure if I could take that risk, why not? If it happens 1 in 100 times and I get Justin Jefferson, Deebo, and Mark Andrews, why not take it? Because I know I can never do it the other way around. Either way, though, I'm a little scared with A.J. Dillon. I think A.J. Dillon is one of the most premier backups in the league to take. And it definitely does have a very defined upside if Aaron Jones misses time. We got Nick Chubb coming off the board here. T. Higgins, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen. Oh, man. I don't really like any of the picks here, to be honest with you. Maybe DJ Moore. Prefer DJ Moore over these two, I think, just because he does have Baker coming in. And he has such a clearly defined passing role in his offense. I mean, I think DJ Moore is actually really pretty good. And then I think, or maybe Alvin Kamara, honestly. I'm torn, because we do need an RB here. I think we will go DJ Moore, though. I don't foresee Alvin Kamara making it back to us at pick 44. I mean, it's very unlikely. But if it does happen, I mean, that would just be amazing. I don't think it will. But we should still end up with someone on the other side, like a Cam Akers, like a Breece Hall. And now we just have absolutely stacked wide receivers. I mean, this wide receiver core is just insane. It's ridiculous. So some of probably the best wide receiver core out of anybody. And I like stacking those strengths. I think taking strengths in a draft like this and like building up advantages over other players is really where you're going to be able to shine because if you have these clearly defined strengths and let's say you have a weakness, let's say your weakness is you have three clearly defined strengths. Let's say quarterback and wide receiver are your strengths, and then tight end and running back are your weaknesses. You only need to focus on those two weaknesses. So, like, let's say you take really high upside prospects uh, at running back and tight end, then you really only need to focus on getting those very, very boomer bust wide receivers and tight ends. Because, I mean, obviously, it lowers your floor a little bit, but your ceiling is so much higher having two positions that you don't need to worry about at all. In this case, it probably will be quarterbacks and I'm hoping running backs, but getting those two positions that you just don't need to worry about in the slightest, and then kind of just hammering it from there. We got Jalen Waddle, Kyle Pitts. I may actually be targeting Mark Andrews a little bit more, I think. Maybe in the long term, I think I'll probably have a pretty even spread between Justin Jefferson and Mark Andrews here. Because I like both of them about the same. Justin Herbert coming off the board pretty early here. It's not hard to see why, honestly. And then Lamar, oh my God, this guy's got an absolute. I don't even want to try and pronounce his name. This guy's a very audacious draft strategy. I can't recommend it personally. If I were telling you to start a team in best ball and I saw you do that, I'd be a little concerned for your mental health. But I mean, it definitely is an interesting draft strategy. You kind of hope. I mean, this guy really has to hope the quarterbacks start flying off this board, which I don't know if that's going to happen here as much. I mean, it is certainly possible. Then we got Marquise Hollywood Brown off the board at pick 39. ETN falling a little bit. ETN is a guy who was going in the 50s and now is pushed up all the way to pick 38. And that is a little low for him, too. Cam Akers coming off the board at 42. A little unfortunate. Here, we're in a pretty interesting situation. I'm thinking Breece Hall is most likely the pick here. Actually establish a wide receiver. And then hope, I don't know, maybe hope to get Jerry Jeudy. Zeke comes off the board. We're going to take Breece Hall here, a guy who figures to be a workhorse in that offense. It's certainly possible. Let me just say this. It's certainly possible that Michael Carter can steal touches from him, especially passing work from Breece Hall. But realistically, they drafted Breece Hall much, much higher. They were shocked. They came out and said they were shocked Breece Hall was on the board when he was. They were absolutely shocked. So Breece Hall, I mean, I think in an offense that projects to at least, I mean, moderately okay. Like they should at least be not the worst offense in the league. I think this year, I mean, like on the surface, yeah, I mean, it's the Jets, so you never really know. But on the surface, they don't look terrible. I mean, you've got a young quarterback who has potential. You've got I don't want to say good online, but a decent online. I mean, you've got Mekhi Becton, that dude from the Broncos, McGovern, AVT. I think it's like a pretty fairly decent line. And then you have fairly good wide receivers as well. I mean, Garrett Wilson, who projects, I mean, he was a top 10 pick, so you got to figure he's at least decent. I mean, obviously, he could bust. Anyone could bust. But a top 10 pick. And then Elijah Moore, who was fantastic in his first season. Fantastic for a rookie in a terrible situation. I mean, come on. All right, so here we figured to take one of two players, George Kittle or David Montgomery. Hopefully we can get Montgomery here. I really would prefer not to get sniped here on David Montgomery because I think David Montgomery is honestly being very, very undervalued in this range. I mean, this is a guy who's not a sexy name, by no means a sexy wide receiver pick or a sexy running back pick. I mean, if you told your friends, oh, I came out and I got David Montgomery and like let's say like James Conner or Ezekiel Elliott, it's like okay, that sounds pretty gross, but at the end of the day, I mean, David Montgomery figures to be a workhorse back in an offense that sure is not that good with a pretty bad O-line. But he's a very, very consistent running back. Gets fairly heavily targeted in the passing game. And I've heard reports coming out of training camp that he should be more heavily targeted in the passing game. And he's a workhorse. I mean, what more could you ask for? Probably one of the last true few workhorses in the game right now. Maybe Elijah Mitchell. There's potential Elijah Mitchell. But you really can never trust the 49ers offense. I can't really think of anyone else. J.K. Dobbins, it is possible, but he was placed on the pup list, so I'm not exactly sure when he's going to be coming off the board. We got Josh Jacobs coming off. Adam Thielen. I'm hoping there's a few guys that I'm hoping for here. Mainly Chris Godwin. I think Chris Godwin's being really, really slept on. I know he is going to be missing a lot of time, potentially out for 6 weeks, although he hasn't officially been placed on the pup list yet. But getting a guy like that, I mean, Chris Godwin could easily finish on a points per game basis as a top 10 wide receiver. I mean, he's done it multiple seasons prior to this. I think getting him this late, J.K. Dobbins coming off the board at pick 63. I think potentially getting him a pick 68 here, which is unlikely. I think it is pretty unlikely, but it is possible. And then there really is a pretty substantial tier drop off after that. I mean, Amon-Ra, Russell Gage coming off the board at pick 62. So it is possible. Chris Godwin falls to us. There's two players we really, really like here. Two players we really, really, really like. Oh my god. I mean, this would be absolutely insane. Dalton Schultz ADP is starting to lower again. Thank God. Because, I mean, I think Dalton Schultz is being pushed up just way, way too high. All right. Now there's two players we really, really like. I would prefer Chris Godwin here, to be honest, even though I'm a huge Jalen Hurts stan. I think you guys all know that by now. I would prefer Chris Godwin because then our wide receivers would be absolutely stacked. I mean, this would be one of the best wide receiver cores I've ever put together. So I'm really hoping for Chris Godwin here. And then hopefully, ending up with Joe Burrow after the next round. Jalen Hurts coming off the board here. Wow. Oh my God, we get Chris Godwin. This wide receiver core is nasty. This is filthy. Oh my God. Maybe in hindsight, it could have been slightly better now to have taken Mark Andrews, just knowing the wide receiver value that was going to come to us. But at the same time, you can never really truly know that stuff. I mean, it's impossible to know you're going to get Chris Godwin at pick 68. It really is absolutely impossible. So we'll take a Chris Godwin here. And then hope, I'm assuming, for Joe Burrow. I would like a Joe Burrow here. I mean, I would really suit the rest of the team. Then we'd really just need to go hunting for a tight end sometime. Maybe even Dalton Schultz, potentially. Although I do think I'd probably prefer Burrow over Schultz. It's close. I don't know if Schultz will even make it back to us. I doubt he will, but it is possible. Devonta Smith coming off the board at 71. Donovan Hopkins at 70. We got a pretty good team here. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of this team. Let me know if you think there's any pick I should have made differently. Let me know what you guys think about the Andrews versus Debo pick. Just not really too sure. Leave a like and subscribe if you do enjoy the video. I mean, it would really mean the world to me. That would just be awesome. And if you guys want, stay tuned towards the end. I'm going to be announcing a giveaway, which I'm sure you guys will all be really excited for. I think it's going to be great. I hope it blows up. I hope it works out well. I hope one of you guys win some good money from it. But either way, that's a topic for another day. We got Joe Burrow coming off the board at pick 72, which is a little bit annoying, but there still are other great QBs. It is possible we could go for someone like Matt Stafford at pick 92. Maybe Trey Lance won't make it to us there. I've given up hoping Trey Lance falls to where he was in June, in May. I've given up on it. I just don't think it's possible. It is sad. It is really sad. I wish he was. I mean, that would just be awesome. But it's not to be. It's not to be, I don't think, at this point. Here, we're in a little bit of not a tricky situation. There's really just two guys we like. Antonio Gibson comes off the board. So now it's probably going to have to be, I mean, I imagine T-Money will probably snipe us on Dalton Schultz. That's my boy. And then at that point, if we do get sniped here on Dalton Schultz, which we don't, wow, okay. So we don't get sniped on Dalton Schultz, so I'm not too mad. I'm going to start up Trey Lance just in a very, very small hope that we can get him. I imagine it's not going to be the case. Miles Sanders comes off the board. Kadarius Toney all the way at pick 76. People have been really, really buying. And I was initially a little concerned about Kadarius Toney because I was thinking, okay, I'm a Giants fan. I don't want to put too much Giants bias on my channel. So I'm going to temper my expectations on Kadarius Toney. I think it could just be Giants hype, all that stuff. But no, Kadarius Toney is legitimately receiving hype from everywhere in the league. And it's not hard to see why. It's really not hard to see why at all. And Kadarius Toney, very, very talented wide receiver. I mean, he can He can juke somebody out of a phone booth. It's actually crazy how talented Kadarius Toney is as a player. The problem last year, well, there was two. One, injuries. He could not stay on the field. I mean, at all. It was very, very sad because the talent was obviously there. And two was the situation. I mean, he blew up with Mike Glennon throwing to him. Mike Glennon. He had 189 yards, I think it was, something like that. But Mike Glennon tossing him the rock. I mean, come on. How is it even possible? I mean, it was actually crazy, and everybody remembers that game. I remember that game so fondly, even though the Giants got absolutely schlonged. But it was a pretty great game. Anyways, let me just take a second to think about this pick. I'm torn between two guys, whether that be Chris Olave or Damian Harris. I'm not too sure. I do think here. Oh, actually, Tom Brady too, especially now that we have the Godwin stack. I think we might have to go Tom Brady here, even though I would like to get another running back. I think it does stink too that Chase Edmonds has been sworn up these boards, goes off the board at pick 85 here, which is a little annoying. But I think we do go Tom Brady here, even though I would like Olave or Harris pretty badly. Olave comes off the board. So he probably will go. Yeah, we're going to go Tom Brady here. I think Tom Brady's the pick. Also behind ADP, Matt Stafford does get taken too. So it is a good pick then. We don't have to worry as much at QB. And then I know this is going to sound absolutely crazy. Oh, Derek Carr comes off the board at pick 94. But I may try and wait and not take Rodgers at 101. I don't think I am going to take Rodgers at 101. I'm not going to lie. I don't think it's the right pick, especially if there is a talented running back on the board. Named Damian Harris. I think the odds are kind of low. I think Core Bracky probably is eyeing up Damian Harris here. I mean, he goes Tony Pollard and Damian Harris. That's fair. Maybe it is possible we do reach on Rodgers a little bit because it is Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is an absolute beast. But I'm not too sure honestly at this point. Devin Singletary coming off the board. You don't usually see wide receivers grouping up like this. You really don't. We're gonna go Sky Moore here. I think that's probably the best call. The only other player I could really consider is Dawson Knox. For those boom weeks, I think Dawson Knox offers what's the news? Locked in as top tight end. I think that's fairly obvious. We're gonna go Sky Moore here. I think Sky Moore's the pick. Solidifying our absolutely god tier wide receiver core just a little bit further. I was considering Dawson Knox or Dallas Goedert. I mean, both of them are probably about the same. I just like the boom potential for Dawson Knox a little more. I think getting a guy like Dawson Knox is a little better because in a basketball format, Dawson Knox per game ceiling is higher than somebody like Dallas Goedert's. Because Dawson Knox is the huge playability. Dallas Goedert simply doesn't have. I mean, Dallas Goedert's obviously going to be more consistent, but Dawson Knox is that home run hitter. And a position like tight end, where you probably would want a home run more than other positions, I would gladly take Dawson Knox over Dallas Goedert. Unless you have Jalen Hurts, which I have done a little bit. Since I have Jalen Hurts a lot, I'll be taking Dallas Goedert a little more. But you can only take so much Dallas Goedert. I think Dawson Knox is that guy, that swing for the fences type prospect. We got Aaron Rodgers coming up the board, pick 107. Not surprising that he doesn't fall to us. Potentially we do go Kirk Cousins at the 116 or the 125, I think it is, whatever we end up having. 125, yeah. Potentially we do go Kirk Cousins the 125, and then maybe try and get a Deshaun Watson late. I'm unsure of that. I still got plans cooking up in my head here. Zach Ertz coming off the board at pick 108. I mean, Zach Ertz is guaranteed volume on volume on volume. This season, he's coming into a situation with just Hollywood and Rondell Moore's competition. And Kyler honestly loved Zach Ertz. It feels gross. It feels really, really gross to take a Zach Ertz. It's like eating your vegetables. That's really what it comes down to. Eat your vegetables, and you'll be a healthy and strong man. Zach Ertz is that pick. I think Zach Ertz is an interesting pick. Me personally, I haven't been taking too much Zach Ertz, though. But I think he is definitely an interesting pick. more so for the first half of the season than the second half of the season. And I'm kind of going through those picks that are more interesting. The second half of the season, look at guys like DeAndre Hopkins, Alvin Kamara, those type of players, because that's when it really counts. But either way, you can't go wrong. That Christian Watson pasting the pup. We found out, really no big deal. Routine pup list placement. I'm torn between Kirk Cousins and Christian Watson here. And James Cook could be interesting too. I think Kenneth Walker has been absolutely falling down these draft boards due to the fact that he's most likely taking number 2 duties, which I'm a little surprised about, honestly. I mean, Pete Carroll, if any coach is gonna be taking a rookie in the second round and then not playing him at all, it would be Pete Carroll. But still, I mean, you drafted him in the second round, and you're just not going to use him? I don't really understand it. I don't get the philosophy of it. But you do you, Pete Carroll. So I think now that these reports have been coming out, normally I don't like to listen to training camp reports that much. But at this point, I think it is a little more substantial when it is a negative report than a positive report. So I will most likely be fading Kenneth Walker a little bit. Not that I ever was really placing a lot of stock in Kenneth Walker. I probably own like Kenneth Walker in like 3 leagues out of, I don't know, like 80. So I never really had him in the first place. I was never really touching that offense. So I don't really like it. Honestly, it's like disgusting. And it's not even like eating your vegetables. I mean, there's no vegetables to be had. That offense sucks. I think all of those players could potentially finish behind where they're being drafted, honestly. Aside from whoever emerges from that running back room. Those are the only players. Oh, god dang it. Kirk Cousins coming off the board to pick 119. A little disappointing. Actually, really disappointing. Because now there's a pretty substantial tier drop off. There's no stacks we could get with Tua or anyone like that. Kind of hoping for Irv Smith here. Got Irv Smith. We'll wait a little longer. Pat Freiermuth comes off the board. Wait a little longer. We still only have 2 running backs here, too. That is something we need to keep in mind. Potentially we get Khalil Herbert as a nice backup. And Brees Hall, I don't want Michael Carter enough. I don't think Michael Carter has the same 3-down workhorse role if Brees Hall goes down that Khalil Herbert has. Khalil Herbert has obvious 3-down role, 3-down potential. Naheem Hines comes off the board. We're hoping for Irby Smith. Oh, actually, Rondell Moore could be a really interesting pick. We just absolutely deck out our wide receiver room. I mean, holy crap, this wide receiver room is so stacked. This is actually by far the most insane wide receiver room I think I've ever drafted. That's why we could afford to take these risks on guys that normally, it would be a little tougher to take risks on because now our wide receiver room is just absolutely stacked. We have tons of safety. We have tons of risk as well. Chris Godwin, a pretty substantial risk. We have so much depth at the position that now we can afford to take these risks. And we got Tom Brady, of course, the GOAT. We got 2 decent RBs. I'm a little concerned with our RB situation. Honestly, I think we're going to need to go like Algier in the next round, or Algier in the next 2 rounds. And we could also end up with Irv Smith or Cole Kmet, Mike Gesicki, any of those 3. We could end up with Ronald Jones the next round. All I know is that we're most likely not taking QBs here in the next round. And we're definitely not taking wide receivers. We are wide receiver down unless even more supreme value falls to us. Like, I would say it is possible I could consider JMO at pick 140. Just because JMO is... Oh, man. But I don't even... maybe Van Jeff at pick 147 or 149. But oh my god, these wide receivers are so stacked. This is ridiculous. Please leave a comment below what you think of these wide receivers. Let me know if you think messed up taking too many wide receivers. I don't think I did. I think this is actually great. Especially because I think that if Brees Hall goes down, normally my season's over anyways. Even if I have other backups, like my season's most likely over if Brees Hall goes down. I wouldn't say David Montgomery if I'm getting Khalil Herbert, but either way, the season's basically over. I would say we'd probably Van Jefferson would be nice. Tyler Allgeier's been flying up boards due to these good training camp reports. I mean, he's got potential to be the starter, or at least take touches away from Cordell Patterson. Obviously, Mike Davis is probably the second biggest flop in all fantasy football last year, maybe only behind Brandon Ayuk. And I can't really think of too many other people that flopped higher. We could actually get Irv Smith here. After almost taking Irv Smith in the last round, and instead passing on him for Rondell Moore, we could now get Irv Smith in this round, potentially. If not, we could also get JMO, Mike Gesicki. There's a lot of players on the board that I think really are producing some good value here. I think it is possible. I mean, it is actually even possible. Irv Smith and Gesicki are both off the board. I may have just jinxed us. Tua comes off the board. We get Gesicki here. I'll take it. Gesicki operating in an offense where he should at least benefit from having so much talent around him. I mean, and he's a guy who's put up 700 yards back-to-back season. You can't ask for much more than that at the tight end position late. I mean, the tight ends late just suck. They're just so bad. Here now, I mean, it's really, really tempting to take Jameson Williams. It really is so tempting. But I can't do it, I don't think. I think I need running back depth. Any possible way I can. I need to hammer this running back depth here. Because we already have such talented wide receivers. Van Jeff would have been nice. Van Jeff would have been the other guy I was considering, or JMO. One of those two. And I mean, JMO's nice because, I mean, he's like another one of those guys where it's like, now I can definitely afford to take him because I have such nice wide receivers. The second half of the season, this guy's an absolute home run hitter. I mean, that's really what matters. I think Van Jefferson, though, I really don't get why Van Jefferson's going so low, honestly. Maybe I should have taken Van Jeff there. I think Van Jefferson's a guy who really should be going higher. Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams just came off the board. They said they placed him on, I don't even know. Tyler Algier coming off the board to pick 145. Pretty disappointing. Really disappointing, honestly. Where is Khalil Herbert's pick 159? So we're gonna have to wait till next round. Probably tackle Tyrion Davis Price here. Don't want Michael Carter. Don't want Michael Carter at all. I'm not touching him. I'm not touching him with the 39.5-foot pole. I think there's much better backups you can target. Much better. Rather have Darrell Henderson because at least Darrell Henderson's probably walking into a 3-down roll. Because the Rams love that. I mean, they were giving Darrell Henderson a 3-down roll last season. And Darrell Henderson sucks. I mean, I think we can all agree he's not that good of a running back. It's all about the opportunities. But we will go Tyrion Davis Price here, barring Team Money Tan taking him. Probably will not. Nico Collins coming off the board. Nico Collins, a really interesting pick. I should actually probably do a short on this or something. But John Mechie coming out. Unfortunately, my thoughts, my prayers go out to John Mechie and his family. I really hope he's okay. It is the most curable form of leukemia, so it is a slightly better news than just hearing leukemia. But unfortunately, John Mechie has been diagnosed with leukemia. Very, very sad for everyone involved. Really hope him and his family are okay. But now, from a fantasy perspective, Nico Collins will be absolutely shooting up boards. I mean, you figure John Mechie most likely, unfortunately, obviously, terrible tragedy, will most likely be out for this year and potentially won't play next year, the year after that. You really just can't know with these things. It's terrible. A reminder that life is short. But, anyways, Nico Collins should be soaring up these draft boards now. I mean, I was never really drafting too much Mechie. I was never really drafting too much Nico Collins. I don't know how much volume is really going to be in that offense. It's just so shitty. Brandon Cooks is guaranteed his yards, and after that, you really just don't know. I don't really know if it's worth it taking flyers when you have people like Davis Mills for some reason. Davis Mills as your quarterback throwing to you. I really don't understand the Davis Mills love at all. I don't get it. But Nico Collins nonetheless will be flying up these draft boards. And I guess at this point, Nico Collins, I think if he does emerge as a clear-cut wide receiver too, I think you got to be happy taking, 700-800 yards at this point. I mean, because he does probably pose higher upside than a lot of these other guys, aside from maybe Van Jefferson, because Van Jefferson's a guy who's absolutely boom bust to the core, and that's what you want in a format like this, late at least. We got Khalil Herbert coming off the board. A little unfortunate, so we don't get Khalil. Oh my God, there's not a wide receiver in sight. Good thing we already got seven phenomenal wide receivers. Maybe we go to Deshaun Watson here. We probably should, considering especially that we only have one quarterback. Deshaun Watson's probably the best pickup here, I would say. We go to Deshaun Watson. Maybe we try and get Daniel Jones as well. But the problem with Daniel Jones is, I mean, now we probably. Well, when am I up? So I got 164, 173. Uh, See, if I were looking at this board, the quarterback I'd be more pissed that I missed out on is Deshaun Watson over Daniel Jones. So I most likely will go Deshaun Watson. I think Deshaun Watson's the move. We're gonna take him here. We get Deshaun Watson to pick 164. A guy who could potentially miss half the season. Most likely will miss half the season. I say 8 games is fair. But if he misses 8 games, you're getting 8 other games with not even arguably a top 5 fantasy quarterback. I I don't think there's more upside you're gonna find. Pez pick 150, Pez pick 125. There's nobody with more upside than Sean Watson. I will keep saying this over and over again. Please, please, if you're in a fantasy football league, unless you're looking at it from a moral perspective, just fair, take Deshaun Watson. Obviously, not a good person for what he allegedly did, but in terms of fantasy football upside, I mean, Deshaun Watson's got to be looked at as. I mean, I just drafted Deshaun Watson, a top 5 quarterback every single year. Every single year he's been in the league in terms of fantasy football output. In between Tyler Higbee and Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram, career drop machine. Tyler Higbee, never targeted over 5 times a game, like ever. I can't see Tyler Higbee getting more than 90 targets this year. I think that's fair. And I just took a top 5 quarterback. Paris Campbell comes off the board. Here, I most likely will go Daniel Jones because Daniel Jones does offer more upside through his rushing ceiling. I think it's fair. And I think it is nice, too, when you get to Deshaun Watson, you kind of have to take 3 QBs, most likely, which is fine in this scenario, I think. Now we pretty much have all of our players. There really is not too many other players that we need to go for. We definitely need 2 more running backs. I would almost even say 3 more running backs. We might just take running backs for the rest of this draft. Potentially. Or at least, I mean, at least 2 running backs. Probably. We should take 3. Mark Ingram, what are we going to pick up? Because we just really, really need these backs. I mean, I like D'Onta Foreman a lot because I don't get why D'Onta Foreman is not higher up. If people think that Christian McCaffrey is just a walking injury, which I don't think he is, but if you think Christian McCaffrey is an absolute walking injury, and you think he's pretty much nearly guaranteed to get injured, um, wouldn't you think D'Onta Foreman would be up with more superior backs? I feel like he'd be going ahead of Marlon Mack, who actually might be walking into a starting job, so I'll take that one back. But Kenneth Gainwell, who has no chance of starting. Khalil Herbert, who has no chance of starting. Darrell Williams, no chance of starting. Gus Edwards, no chance of starting, barring Dobbins not coming back till after him, which is possible. But no chance of starting once the lead back is back. At least with D'Onta Foreman, he's a guy who has no chance of starting with Christian McCaffrey there. But if you think Christian McCaffrey's some walking injury, why not be drafting D'Onta Foreman over guys like Jamal Williams, James Robinson? James Robinson, I don't understand. Because this guy tore his Achilles. He tore his Achilles. He's not somebody who's going to come back and probably play till week 6. I have heard buzz about him in training camp. It is possible that he comes back and plays, which I think would be a crazy miracle. I mean, it would be like Cam Akers. But the guy tore his Achilles and is now most likely being replaced as a starting running back. I mean, he probably will get touches still. I think they are planning on using Travis Etienne as a lot more of a receiver type back, which would be awesome. I mean, I think that's why people really like Travis Etienne's upside. All right, so here, what do we do? Do we take George Pickens? Do we take Wandell? I think I'm going to take Wandell, honestly. We got a nice connection with Daniel Jones and Wandell here. I said we go Wandell, and we round out our last wide receivers. And now these last 2 picks, we just take running backs. We literally just focus on running backs. take D'Onta Foreman, and then just hope one of these other backs can fall to us. Whether, I mean, that could pretty much be anyone. Could even justify taking Brian Robinson here. Jerick McKinnon's possible too. And once you get here, it's pretty disgusting. I'm not gonna lie. But maybe even Benjamin. I mean, James Conner has never played a full NFL season. Benjamin does at least have potential to be a backup, and it's pretty much going for free. Jeff Wilson, I would never touch, even though he does have those 2 random weeks every season. Well, he'll drop 20, 25. It's crazy. It's annoying. It's annoying for any 49ers owner, and that's why I really just don't like touching the 49ers. It's just too much of a headache. It's the same thing, honestly, with the Patriots in most years. The Patriots, it feels like they should have like a stable back like Damian Harris playing every snap, but it's just not what happens with them. They love to run a committee approach. That's something I really hate in fantasy football. Like, nothing is worse than a committee in fantasy football for running backs. I mean, it's absolutely infuriating. You're almost never happy. It's just not fun. Unless you have a Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt-like committee. That's the one exception I'll give you. Even then, I would still be pretty annoyed with it, but I will give you that exception. So here we get down to the Foreman. Here with our last pick, I mean, we have just absolutely insane wide receivers. This team is nutty. Absolutely insane team. But here we're probably going to try and end up with one more running back, whether that be Brian Robinson, maybe. I don't know. Anyone. But either way, it is time to announce the giveaway. So basically this giveaway, please go down in the comments and read the rules, but I'll explain them here. Basically, giving away $50 to Underdog Fantasy. So you guys can hop in on these Underdog Fantasy drafts, join me potentially, and hopefully win $2 million or $1 million, $10 million in total cash prizes. Basically, all you have to do, go down to the comments, leave a comment using hashtag bestball. You can say hashtag bestball. Oh, blah, blah, blah. This draft stunk. You took D'Onta Foreman. What a reach. Anything you like. Oh, my God, what a great draft. You did amazing. Something like that. Anything you want. Subscribe to the channel. And you can leave a comment on any video, and it counts as an entry. So, like, every single video I have counts as an entry. So, you can go back. All 20, 25 of my videos. I don't know how many I have up now. All of those videos, and you can get 25 entries. $250. I will be announcing that when I hit 50 subscribers. So all you have to do is leave a comment with hashtag bestball. Subscribe. You'll be entered to win. I wish you the best of luck. I really hope it does work out. Get in those comments. Leave those comments. I think it'll be best. Hopefully, one of you guys wins, enjoys it, and then wins $2 million. Be a little sad letting that money go then, but maybe you can give me like $50 back. Pay my buy-in back. I'm just joking around. But either way, please, if you guys would be interested, enter. Leave a like on this video as well. If you do enjoy the content, please leave a like. Comment anyways. It doesn't have to be hashtag bestball, but please do include hashtag bestball so you are entered into the competition. And then subscribe, again, for the competition, but also, just if you like best ball content, we will be producing best ball content and producing tons and tons of other content throughout the season, giving you guys, weekly starts, sits, everything like that. Just trying to produce as much fantasy football content for you guys as possible so you guys can win your leagues easily, crush your leagues. I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to. But here we probably are going to wrap up this video soon. Take Jerick McKinnon here. Will potentially, I don't even know. I really don't want to take McKinnon here. Maybe we take. Honestly, I'm gonna take Benjamin and just call it a day. I don't know why Benjamin just call my name there. Either way, that's the last pick of the draft. Maybe honestly Pierre Strong could be interesting. But either way, we are gonna call it a video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really hope you guys do enjoy the rest of your day. And honestly, love you guys. Thank you so much.